Okay, folks, so we've been delving deeply into these particular announcements that Ripple consistently makes regarding XRP and the developments they're doing on the XRP ledger, correct? And Ripple XRP Dev is the conduit for all of this. The problem is that you will begin to see the wider picture if you truly pay attention to these puzzle pieces and take a close look at what they have been releasing this year. Getting institutions on board in a big way is their ultimate goal. Isn't institutional DeFi the main focus? We can't stop talking about stablecoins and RWA tokenization for precisely this reason. But why? Here's what I discovered. Stable currencies are essentially the game changer when it comes to real-world assets. They provide the essential liquidity layer, which is what actually makes large tokenization function. Imagine that you wish to add stocks to the chain. Correct. Imagine being able to borrow and lend against stocks whenever you choose and trading them around the clock every day of the year. Sounds fantastic. Here's the problem though. Only if you have a very stable liquid coin that is well established on that network will this work. Doesn't that make perfect sense? This is when things start to get interesting. How about defying the institution? You see, institutional defiance is essentially the same tale I just told you, except much more intense. Consider it. You have liquidity pools for lending and borrowing, as well as numerous more systems that are ravenous for liquidity. Let's face it, the name liquidity pools actually means liquidity. In essence, these pools are requesting that stable currencies be loaded and secured with them. The worst part is still to come. The hidden ingredient that actually makes all of this crypto magic happen is stable currency. My pals, that's the reason we're so enamored with RLUSD. Plot twist though, you've locked in your steady coin. There is a surge in liquidity. What is the piece that is missing? Do I have any goods for you, my friend? It's about time to pack this video. We will delve deeply into all of that tasty material. Here's where it gets spicy. I'm also revealing some completely crazy updates that have been going unnoticed. A real Ripple employee has confirmed to me what's going to happen, spilling the tea. We're going to take off, so buckle up, crypto family. As a result, we currently have $313 million locked into XRP. That is the epitome of RWA value. In addition, there are 4 stable currencies in circulation and 18 RWAs living on chain, totaling $197 million in stable coins. It's rather astounding when you consider the true sources of this money, particularly in the previous 30 days. But hold on, the worst part is that Brazo Crypto just released their BBRL stablecoin, and get ready that one stablecoin alone has $191 million in it. Considering that we're currently talking about $191 million from a single individual, I'm very certain that this hasn't even reached those steady coin amounts up there yet. When you consider that we're looking at nearly $100 million locked into RLUSD, it's completely crazy. Indeed, there are other stable coins in the mix as well, such as USDC, which is currently trading at about $2,500,000. But really, folks, it's insane that so much money is going into a single reliable currency. This is where things become even more intriguing, though. Other areas are also experiencing incredible growth. Take a look at these figures for Open Eden's T-bills, for instance. In the last week alone, we're talking about a 2.71% gain. But hold on, it has improved by almost 3% in the past month. Get this too. Right now, they're sitting pretty at about $78,500,000. That is a significant adoption taking place in front of our very eyes. And let's not even discuss RLUSD. Over the past 30 days, we're looking at a 30% rise. Nearly $100 million is at stake here. Quite crazy, isn't it? We now have a few more projects that are gaining significant momentum. I am aware of $4,300,000 and $2.50. It may not seem like much in comparison to that, but believe me when I say that the growth we're witnessing is quite astounding. However, the fact that so many additional assets are being created on the XRP ledger is what truly excites me. Each of these real-world asset tokens offers something really unique, and it's like watching this entire ecosystem just blow up. To be honest, this diversity is just what we were looking for. And I'm getting really excited about the direction that this is all going. Writer has provided us with some amazing statistics that illustrates the current state of the XRP ledger. And to be honest, these figures are simply astounding. Thus, we have $135 million in private credit and $116 million in US treasuries. This is where things start to go wild. Stable coins. As you can see, we're talking about far over $300 million at this point, even though the data may not give us the whole picture. Really, there are 0 cents on the XRP ledger and $300 million. When you think about it, that's crazy. The worst part is still to come. For XRP, the entire stablecoin surge has been incredibly bullish. We're witnessing simply amazing progress. Additionally, real estate is bringing in $4,300,000, while stocks are sitting pretty at $55,400,000. The problem is that these figures have been increasing consistently over the last few weeks, which is just what we wanted to see, isn't it? Here's the big question though, what's really causing all of this expansion? I will explain everything to you now. It all boils down to the revolutionary XRP ledger characteristics, particularly the significant announcements and changes we've witnessed this year. I'm referring to credentials, authorization decks, the AMM, and all the other nice things. Folks, these are more than simply nice features. Institutional players are in dire need of these building pieces due to compliance constraints. This explains why the XRP ledger is experiencing such a surge in activity. The problem is that all of this growth is most likely just beginning. With all these new announcements coming in one after another, we're probably going to see it spike even higher. Additionally, the stable coins on the XRP ledger are also experiencing a massive explosion. But hold on, things will improve. I'm excited since we just received some exciting news from XRP Scan. On the XRP ledger mainnet, the credentials modification is now formally active. Guys, this is huge. It's finally here, the moment we've been waiting for. This update isn't your typical one. This type of infrastructure creates enormous opportunities for institutional adoption and practical applications. Alright, this is really important, and it has a direct connection to the permission decks that I will now explain to you. VET4x0 just revealed some important information. The XRP ledger just saw the implementation of another compliance amendment. And pay attention, this is important because these large institutional players and these incredibly large corporations require everything to be in order for them to remain in compliance. We are discussing permission domains, permission decks, decentralized identity, and credentials. We are actually seeing this all coming together in front of our very eyes, guys. And without warning, the first credential was created. This is some really amazing news, guys. Look, I must tell you the truth. It's completely crazy how much momentum we're seeing. The last few months have been extremely hectic. In all honesty, the last 12 months have seen more significant advancements and exponential growth surrounding the XRP ledger than the preceding 3 years put together. And when I say that aloud, I realize it sounds weird, but it's the whole truth. There just wasn't this level of significant engagement with the XRP ledger 3 years ago. We are therefore completely supportive of the final implementation of these essential building blocks. The enormous use cases that we have been focusing on the channel are literally going to be unlocked. And you know what? It all comes down to the permission decks that changed the game. Do you recall that shocking revelation on June 25th? Permission decks for the XRP ledger were then made available, essentially opening the door for institutional entities to enter the DeFi market. Listen, Ripple isn't going to stop talking about institutional DeFi for a reason. All year long they had been pounding this drum almost constantly. Why? We are facing the prospect of trillions upon trillions of dollars pouring into institutional DeFi. This is serious business, folks. The problem with these major institutional players is this. They're not tinkering with change, are they? A few $100,000, $1 million, or even $100 million is not what we're talking about. Not at all. These folks are aware of how highly effective these networks are. They are seeing all of the incredible use cases unfold before their very eyes. What does that signify? Do you know, they intend to invest trillions of dollars in these networks. In other words, that is precisely why institutional DeFi is so revolutionary. This is where things start to become pretty exciting. It won't just lie around gathering dust when they bring all that money to DeFi. Oh no, that money will be hard at work. Being borrowed against, lent out, traded, and exchanged. Imagine what could be possible in this situation. Take a look at this enormous snowball effect. Any value that begins to roll along the chain simply keeps growing. We're here for it, man. Check this out now. This was not something that happened by chance to the XRP ledger team. Hey, let's design this specifically for institutional heavyweight action. They suggested simply